Blessed are the peacemakers. Uh-oh, that's going to hit some of us. Not blessed are the troublemakers. He didn't say that. We are to seek peace in all areas of life if we're followers of Yeshua. The opposite here is a troublemaker, always somebody that's divisive. I heard a preacher one time tell this allegory story about this guy that everywhere that he drove his car, it stunk, it smelled bad. He thought it was something outside. And so he drove to the next stop sign and to the next city, and he just kept driving and driving and driving. And he said, man, my goodness, something's got to be wrong. And finally he got out of his car and he popped up the hood, and he had noticed that the mechanic that he had worked on his car had left a can of sardines right there on top of the motor, and they were there and they'd been heating up and they'd been sitting there for a while, and they were causing a stench. And the preacher said the moral of this story is if everywhere you go it stinks, then you probably got sardines, rotten sardines under the hood of your car. And what he meant was, if everywhere you go and every person you get involved with, if there's always a problem or always something negative, the problem's probably not outside of you. The problem is probably with you. You need to check yourself. You need to make sure that you're a peacemaker instead of a troublemaker. You don't want to be divisive. You want to be known as somebody that causes friction to come to a halt, that can bring harmony between friends or between a husband and wife or between just people in general. People ought to know Christ followers as peaceful people, people of peace. Usually somebody that doesn't like this message, they'll quote that verse where Yeshua says, I came not to bring peace, I came to bring a sword. But normally when people that are divisive quote that, they're usually trying to wield their own sword. They're trying to quote it because they don't like to be peaceful. They don't believe verses like this, blessed are the peacemakers. You can hide behind the claim that you're persecuted, and I say this for sake of emphasis, but you may just be being a jerk. Sometimes religious people, they always claim that they're persecuted, but the reason that nobody likes them is because they're a jerk. Their spirit's rotten. Nobody wants to be around them because they're hateful and they're bitter. Any division that is brought, when Yeshua says, I did not come to bring peace but a sword, what he's talking about is division that's brought not because of your bad attitude, but division that's brought simply because of your life, how you live. I can testify to the fact that there have been times when people do not like me, not because I've done anything to them, simply because they don't like what I believe and the way that I live. I can't help that. In that case, even if it's somebody from my closest blood kinship, Yeshua came to bring a sword in that regard, where that your lifestyle doesn't always line up with what your family or friends want. And so in that case, you're not causing the division with your bad attitude or being a jerk or whatever. The division is being caused simply by the way that you live. So Yeshua came to bring peace on earth. The angel proclaimed in Luke chapter 2 at the birth of Yeshua, peace on earth. And then in Isaiah 9, one of the titles of Yeshua is Sar Shalom, Prince of Peace.